Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And welcome to the first official video for my 2023 Halloween card series. I'm so excited. I pulled out my little like skeleton type shirt. I don't have costumes. Maybe eventually I'll like get some little Halloween decor or something. Too many things. Anyway, for those that are new or aren't aware, I have been doing the Halloween card series for many years. It's been well over a decade, I think. I'm filming this before I actually go in and do all of the editing and all that stuff. So I will have in my blog post every time I start the series each year, I link to all the other playlists because there are many, many playlists. That'll be linked in the blog post, which will be linked directly below the video because there's over 10 different playlists, hundreds of videos, I think. And yeah, one of my favorite little seasons. Another thing I'll address because I get asked like, why Halloween cards, and what do you do with them? Honestly, I'm not even sure how it all started. I think for me, I just love them because they're just fun. They're not associated with any specific type, birthday, thinking of you, sympathy. It's just Halloween, so it's just because. It's just for fun. Just pure fun. So I send them to anyone. It's just, hey, thinking of you, happy Halloween, whatever, And it's funny because I love it. I'm not a big Halloween person. Like, I don't decorate my house. I don't really have much Halloween decor. I just like making Halloween cards. So that said, there will still be tons of other videos. I don't follow a schedule because my life is nuts. And I just throw things in where I can fit them. And two, there's going to be like Christmas card series will start soon-ish. I'm not sure yet, but there will be Christmas cards. There will be the Halloween cards. There'll be fall cards. I still have summer theme cards coming. Like, there's always going to be a variety. So if Halloween's not your thing, that's okay. There'll be plenty of other inspiration coming. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say to you guys for now. And I'm going to stop filming this portion and get into the card making so that I can crank up the fan. It is unbelievably warm in here. As I'm filming this, it's like, yeah, Halloween, and it's like hottest day of the summer right now for us. It is gross. I am just, ugh. Anyway, keep watching and I will show you how I made these cards. Also, like I forgot to mention, I like to mix non-Halloween with Halloween stuff, because why not? Some stuff will be very specific Halloween products, other things not so much, and that's what I did here. I used my favorite mushroom stems wafer die set that I have a playlist for because I have done many videos using that die set. And yeah, I have more ideas for Halloween themes with these mushrooms, but anyway, I used that. And my first step, of course, was to start die cutting. So I die cut the mushroom stems. I pulled out the Friendly Ghosts wafer die set, which is old. I have done many, many videos using the Friendly Ghost. This came out like 5 or 6 years ago. Everything as of doing the editing is still current and available. I will have links like I always do, but I did the die cutting of the mushroom stems, the ghosts. I die cut a couple circles just from white cardstock. Off camera, I also die cut some black cardstock with the Windswept leaves wafer die, which I'll get to later. And then I also pulled out some glitter cardstock because I was like, ooh, I haven't done that yet with the mushrooms, is glitter. So I pulled out purple glitter cardstock, green glitter cardstock, and orange glitter cardstock, traditional Halloween colors. And I just trimmed down small pieces. And since this mushroom stem wafer die set is all attached, I just placed the glitter cardstock on each little, topper area and die cut all of these pieces. And for all of this, I'm just using my little and a Griffin EMPRESS Mini. I've talked about this in several videos. It's been about 5 months or so since I got this, and you guys, I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of die cutting. I love my little EMPRESS Mini. Eventually might get the bigger, EMPRESS. I just, one thing at a time. And I like my manual machines, like my Platinum 6, which I'm using here. Pulled out the Platinum 6 to do some embossing. That is one thing you cannot do with the EMPRESS. As far as I'm aware, you cannot use embossing folders in it. I have yet to see that work. And also, this is too big for the EMPRESS Mini anyway. This is also kind of an oldie but goodie. This is the Halloween Mandala 3D embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp. I have also done videos using this one. And like I prefer to do with my machine, I have my Platinum 6. Like, look at that. Look at the detail. Oh, love. Anyway, I have my Platinum 6 machine with the original platform. I have 2 metal shims, and that's what works perfectly with Simon's 3D embossing folder. And then I lay out my flour sack cloth and I spray my cardstock. The cloth is just to keep me from getting water everywhere. That's it. I spray the cardstock because it embosses a lot better. It softens those paper fibers, and then you get a much better embossed impression. And then I run it through my machine. And with Simon's embossing folders, and like any brand of embossing folders, they will list with the product like what different recommendations for different machines. The base platform and the 2 metal shims with my Platinum 6 is just what works best for me. So after I embossed those panels, I pulled out some oxide inks, and I've got my blending brush here, and I'm using fossilized amber. Oxide inks, distress oxide inks, have pigment in them. Pigment sits on top of paper, so it shows up. If I just use like a dye ink, you're not really going to see it. It'll show up kind of, but it'll soak into the darker cardstock. I wanted a bit of a halo. It's funny because originally I was going to do a very a lot of white space on these cards, and then it just evolved into this. Like the circle was going to be white, the background was going to be white, and I was like, and then it just went to where it is now, and I'm happy with it. It was fun. So on the white circles, I used one of the Tim Holtz moon masks. These came out, was it last year, the year before? I can't even remember. They've been out for a minute. Again, still available. They're awesome. And they will probably make many appearances in the Halloween series because they're just fun. But I used the one that was kind of closest to this die cut circle. And I blended that same fossilized amber oxide ink just using one of my paper pouncers. And then whatever was left on my glass work surface here, I just took with the brush and whatever ink was left on the brush, and just a very light hand, I'm not pressing very hard, I just kind of blended that onto the die cut circle as well, so it's not just like stark white, 'cause the moon's got a bit of a tint to it, so blended that onto both of these. So I've got my little moons going on, and yeah, I was having so much fun, you guys. Plus, it doesn't help. Like, that's my thing. As my brain does not shut off. It is not always a good thing. In fact, it's very exhausting more often than not. My thing is I don't lack ideas. I lack time. That's the thing. Like, as I was making these, I have ideas for the next, I don't even know how many cards, and like, ooh, I can do this with the mushrooms. I can do that, Anyway, I took hickory smoke oxide ink and a blending brush, and then blended that around the perimeter of these embossed panels, and that just deepens it up a little bit. It also just kind of brings out the embossed pattern, which doesn't show up the greatest in videos, but in real life, all the little patterns and the 3D impressions and all that are just so much fun. And then last but not least, I took black soot oxide ink, and again, just very light hand. I went just right around the edges of these panels with this, and this will, the black soot oxide more than any of the others, it will dry back a bit. It'll soften. It won't be quite, like right now it's looking quite a bit darker, but it'll dry back just a teeny bit. So I just lightly blended that around these panels. I didn't pull it into, I didn't blend it right into that fossilized amber because that's just there. It'll literally be kind of a halo when I assemble these card fronts. So blended that on, and and yeah, my work surface, because people ask me about that, it's from Glassboard Studio. Kathy Zielski usually I think has like a code, and Yana Smakula has a code. Like I think everyone has like a code and links under their videos, but that's what it's from. So anyway, wiped it all up, cleaned up my mess, and then I took the white die cuts. This is just die cut from Simon's Smooth White Cardstock for the mushrooms. And I've got like the undersides of the mushrooms and the stems. And I'm going to do just very simple, basic Copic coloring. Nothing too crazy, just to add a bit of like texture, shading. That's about it. So for the undersides of the mushrooms, I'm just using cool grays. And I just went in with a light gray. And then the medium gray, I just dotted. I've talked about this before. I like adding dots. It gives texture. It gives a little bit of just something different. And it's also a good way, if you're not like super happy with your blend or things like that, add some dots. That usually like it distracts the eye. Literally, it does. So I did that, and I used a darker gray for some more dots. So it was basically like C1, C3, C5. And then for the stems, I went with some yellow shades. I wasn't going to originally, but then I was like, technically if like the glow of the moon was reflecting, like I got way too deep into this. But that's what I did. So I used Y21, and then I blended it out a bit with W00, just again, because I was like, I'm not going for like fancy coloring everything. Like there's going to be a lot going on. It doesn't need that. But did those two, and then I added dots as well with Y23 and Y26. Just do, and that'll just give them a little extra something. So after I did that, it's time to assemble all my little mushrooms. So stick the stem on, stick the little topper on, done. That's it. Like, love it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what it is. I think again, it's because to me, mushrooms are like, I don't know how else to phrase these sorts of things. That's why I call them neutrals. Halloween to me is a neutral. These mushrooms are a neutral. They don't, you can go around and do anything. Even with Halloween, it's like I can do Halloween birthday theme, Halloween thank you theme. It just is. So anywho, assemble my little mushrooms. And then for my sentiments, this is another little kind of oldie but goodie stamp set. I'm not even sure. This came out a couple years ago. This is the Too Cute to Spook little stamp. It's a big stamp set. And I just used a couple of the little sentiments, because there's the Here for the Booze sentiment. And I was like, that's perfect. And then another one of the little sentiments. And again, I've done at least one video. I think last year's series. So last year or the year before, one of them anyway, used these. And I stamped the sentiments onto some orange peel cardstock with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. You do not need to heat set this ink or heat emboss with it, but because it is also like it's pigment and oil based, it takes longer to dry. And I always smear this ink if I'm stamping sentiments. I can stamp that ink and like watercolor with it, no problem. Like watercolor over it, it doesn't smear, it's great. But with sentiments, if I don't heat emboss the sentiments, it's guaranteed I'll smear it, and it just so I use clear embossing powder, heat emboss them, and then die cut them with some sentiment label wafer dies. And then I pulled out some baker's twine, because I've been adding this again to my cards and it's just fun. So I wrapped baker's twine around the 3D embossed panel. And then I used my reverse tweezers. I have mentioned this many times. These are a must-have in any card making tool kit. Generally multiple pairs of reverse tweezers, because it's always guaranteed. If you only have one pair, you're going to lose them. They're going to grow legs and walk away. They always do. And then when you have 10 pairs, you never lose them ever again. It's just, that is the rule. I don't actually have 10 pairs. I have, I think, like 3, possibly 4. I'm not even sure, but I got extras just in case. So I use that to hold the knot closed, tie my little bow, trim it off. And then my little moon, I used Simon's Big Mama foam tape to pop that up. Again, gives it a little bit of dimension. So used that and popped that into place. and then Windswept leaves. I've raved about this little die set as well, along with the mushrooms. Like, I don't know what it is. Again, I think it's just the shape of it. Like, it is very Windswept looking. I just love the curvature, and it works with everything. I've put it in so many videos. And I die cut it from black cardstock, and it just, you know how it like curves around the moon? I was like, yes, again, this was all just meant to be. So I adhered that into place, and then adhered my little cluster of mushrooms. And all of this I'm just adhering with craft tacky glue. So stuck one of the other little Windswept leaves die cuts there just to kind of pull it all out a little bit more. Stuck those little mushrooms into place. And then the little sentiment, again, was just like the perfect width to fit a piece of that Big Mama foam tape on. And for all of that, I'm using Simon's scissors. I always forget like the specific, Positively Everything scissors, something. I'll have a link to them. These are my favorite scissors for foam tape. Game changer. Anyway, I adhered the little ghosties. One of them I popped up with little foam squares. The little one I just stuck with craft tacky glue. And then there, the sentiment and the little bit of foam tape. It's so nice when things just fit. You know, that satisfying moment when things just fit perfectly. Live it. So stamp that or adhere that into place. And then my card bases are just top folding white A2 note cards. And I used the largest little friendly ghost. I stuck him on the inside. He was too big for the front of the card. And I was like, ooh, I'll just stick him on the inside. He's cute. So that's what I did. Adhered the other sentiment. I had that leftover little leaf die cut as well from die cutting the other ones. So stuck that on the inside too, because why not? So got all of those adhered onto the insides of my card. And then I'm going to adhere my card front just using craft tacky glue. Sometimes I generally use the Big Mama foam tape for this, but decided not to. Just stuck glue on the back of it. It's good. So adhered that into place with the glue, and then I just repeat the process with the second card. And then as a final touch to all of this, I went through my blank. Shocking, like that is one thing I actually don't have is the right shade of purple bling. And you guys know, seriously, I have like 5+ lifetimes worth of bling. Purples are difficult. Purples are difficult with everything. There's not enough purples in the world, in my opinion. But anyway, these though were perfect adjacent. You know, these are the ombre glitter drops in Magic Potion from Pink Fresh Studios, and they're purple and green. So I was like, ooh, this works. This works great. So I adhered those into place onto these cards, and that finished them off. So, like I mentioned, I will have a link below the video to my blog post. In the blog post, I will have links to all the other Halloween playlists that I've done over the years. As of now doing the voiceover part, there's like 10 or 11 playlists. Again, I've been doing this for a lot of years. It's fun. So yeah, I'll have links to those. I will have my supply list with links to all the supplies I use. So you can check that out below as well, along with like links to my social medias, all the things. So all that info will be in the description box below the video. As always, thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you. And stay tuned. I have plenty of videos coming. So I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.